Hello YouTubers. Today I'd like to talk a little bit about hurricane preparedness. As it's now nearing June 1st, the beginning of hurricane season, everybody's talking about and thinking about hurricane preparedness. I just wanted to share a few thoughts and reminders. This isn't a thorough, complete, everything you need list that I'm going to talk about, but it's some things that you definitely should keep in mind. The first and probably the most important tool that you can have for surviving anything, including hurricanes, is your brain. Having a plan, knowing what to do, how to do it, is probably the most important thing when it comes to hurricane preparedness. One thing I want to say is it's kind of important to watch out for cheap junk survival kits that are really just cheap junk all thrown together and sold to make a few bucks for some rich guy in some other country like China. So keep in mind that what you want is good quality tools and not junk. One of the first things that's going to happen and go out is the electricity. So you're going to need ways to communicate, be able to listen to the radio for news, communicate with other people, because the cell phone towers might not work. With the electricity out, do you have a gas stove or an electric stove? If you have an electric stove, you ain't cooking nothing. And a lot of the gas stoves nowadays come with electric igniters and won't actually start if they don't have electricity. So that's some things you need to keep in mind. The water company that's providing water to your house, they aren't going to have electricity. They might have a generator, but they're not necessarily going to be having a full pressure or being able to fully chemically treat it. So you're going to need to be able to store water, filter water yourself. Heck, around here where I live, we quite often have boil advisories when it's just for no particular reason whatsoever, apparently. I just had one in a town not too far away from me just last week. One good thing to have is a weather radio. I've done a full review on this previously, but just in case you haven't gone and looked back to see it, this is a Midland little NOAA weather radio. It has the alerts. You can also do AM and FM. In this case, it's solar powered, and it has a hand crank so you can power it that way. Besides being USB chargeable when it's not an emergency. And a flashlight. And since cell coverage may be spotty, another thing to consider is getting your amateur radio license. A ham station can be run off of car batteries and solar panels. Having a lot of battery-powered devices can be handy, but storing a lot of batteries can take up a lot of space, and they don't last forever. So having rechargeable batteries comes in handy. And of course, rechargeable batteries requires a battery charger. In this case, this particular one, you can charge up to 4 batteries at the same time. It'll take AAA, AA, C batteries, 18650s, 26650s, and so on. And it automatically knows to properly charge the various chemistries. And in this particular case, not only does it have a regular 120 volt wall socket, it has a place that you can use a car charger out of your cigarette lighter port. For keeping your phones charged, you can buy things like this battery bank that can be charged with USB and charge USB devices. This one in particular is the Anchor Power Core. It has a 26,800 milliamp hour battery. This one in particular you can plug into two USB ports so that it can charge twice as fast. The water company may or may not be able to provide you clean, safe drinking water. It might be on, but not necessarily properly sanitized. So having a way to store and filter water is a good idea. Especially if you're going through a lot of it, you're not going to want to have to boil every gallon, so having a good filter is a good idea. I've done 2 reviews on this one in particular. You can go back through our channel and see it, but that's the Platypus. Each bag, the dirty and clean, each hold 4 liters of water. But it's not the only water filtration devices that exist. Another option for filtering water is the Sawyer Squeeze. This has a few, kit here is Trinity's, and he has a few extras in it. But basically the Squeeze is a big filter that you can, with screws, so that you can screw on bottles. Or you can squeeze it straight through and drink right through from the filter. In this case, he's got a few extra things, like here he's got this Vecto, 2-liter Vecto from CNOC, which you can use as your dirty water bag to collect your water, and it'll screw onto your onto your Squeeze. And of course there's the little lowly tiny little Sawyer Mini. Main thing to keep in mind about these is that these will only do fresh water. If the only water available to you is salt water, you'll need a still. I don't have one, so I can't show one to you. I'll leave that up to you to look up. One thing you can do is the same thing that your water company does, and that's add chlorine to your water. You get these little tablets. These are Oasis water purification tablets. In this case, this is for 2 liter, and these tablets are for 1 liter. The main thing to keep in mind though with these is that they do expire. And something else you'll need is a way to store your water. These, in particular, these are the LCI military surplus. You find them pretty cheap at surplus stores usually. Each of these containers holds 5 gallons or 20 liters of water. So you definitely need to consider that you might need quite a few of them, because you could be without it for a while. Of course, speaking of water, if you're going to boil water, you need something to boil it with. And if you don't have if you have an electric stove, or you can't, the gas is out also besides the electricity, you need some kind of stove to boil water. So having some kind of stove, like a propane stove or a wood burning stove, little wood gas stoves, will come in handy too. And not only that, you're gonna need a stove to cook with. So having some kind of small portable stove, like a Coleman or one of these MSRs or the BRS 3000s, to boil water and you cook your food, will come in is a really good idea. And food. Well, as soon as the electricity goes out, all the food in your refrigerator and your freezers are going to start going bad. So first you're going to, well, you'll be quickly eating through as much of that as you can. That's not going to last you very long. So you definitely need to make sure you have some good long-term storage food like canned goods or freeze-dried food such as Mountain House. You could be up to two or more weeks, without electricity, and you ain't going to be able to go to the grocery store. So you need to make sure you have plenty stocked up to last you, 2 or more weeks. Another good idea, especially if you live in the low-lying areas and the floodplains, and you should have evacuated but you didn't, keep an axe in your attic in case you have to crawl up in the attic and you don't get trapped in your attic. It doesn't have to be anything fancy or expensive like this. Just something good, sharp axe with a short handle, because you're not going to have a lot of room up in your attic, so that you can bust through and get out. And probably the most important thing, and I can't emphasize this enough, is to familiarize yourself with your equipment. Practice with it so that when it comes time that you actually know what you're doing, you're not having to try to figure it out when you need it the most. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, please click the like button. If you'd like to see more, click subscribe. Please also consider supporting us on Patreon so that we can continue to make more of these videos. And you can also join us on our Discord server. The links will be in the description below.